History of MGM Grand Air.
Imagine an airline like no other. An airline so superior in style and substance, it recalls a past time when traveling was an elite experience. Imagine an airline that promises no lines to wait in, no check-in counters, no lost luggage, and no waiting for luggage. Imagine an airline that flies exclusively between New York and Los Angeles on a very convenient, business-oriented schedule. Now imagine that this unique airline that delivers true luxury costs the same as ordinary first class on most other airlines. Imagine no more. MGM Grand Air is here. Introduce yourself to Grand Class Service. Grand Class Service begins the moment you arrive at our exclusive, convenient terminals in Los Angeles and New York. There is ample parking just steps away from our club lounge. Or if you prefer, we will arrange door-to-door limousine service. Baggage problems have been completely eliminated because MGM Grand Air porters immediately whisk your luggage onto the plane and return it to you upon debarkation. Once in our terminal, you begin to experience the private club atmosphere of the truly private MGM Grand Air Lounge. Original art and designer furniture abound. A concierge will assist you and ensure that all your travel needs are promptly taken care of. Our lounges offer private conference rooms, phones, and complimentary beverages. After a brief stay in our lounge, you'll be escorted to our nearby planes, where you'll discover what first class was always meant to be. There'll be a maximum of 33 passengers per flight, served impeccably by 5 highly professional flight attendants. Once on board, you'll discover that amenities abound like no other airline. Relax in a contoured swivel seat. Hold a meeting in one of our luxuriously appointed private compartments. Make new friends or business contacts at the stand-up bar. Indulge yourself in a first-run movie. There are 6 choices, some shown on your own personal monitor. Even call home or ahead on our state-of-the-art air phones. And what would the ultimate in air travel be without world-class cuisine? MGM Grand Air's food service was created by one of the world's most renowned chefs. For starters, there's an opulent selection that includes imported caviar, giant prawns on ice, assorted pâtés, choicest cheeses, and fresh-baked breads. On morning flights, indulge yourself in our brunch in the sky. Enjoy made-to-order eggs or omelets and all the trimmings. Our gourmet lunch and dinner entrees are served on fine china and feature the freshest fish and fowl, as well as Chateaubriand and beef Wellington. To complement this fare are imported vintage wines and champagne, personally chosen by our highly respected wine steward. There is no airline on earth that can compete with MGM Grand Air's food and beverage service. MGM Grand Air fosters a climate conducive to doing business in a very elegant and pleasurable atmosphere. And the more you fly Grand Class, the more free flights you can accumulate. From your first flight, you are automatically enrolled, if you so choose, in our Plus program. It's one more reason why you shouldn't bother with ordinary first class anymore. In fact, MGM Grand Air is so superior without costing more. Everything else should be called second class.
Kirk Kerkorian was an 8th grade dropout who was able to get his commercial pilot license just before World War II. He worked for the Royal Air Force Air Transport Command in Canada, flying Mosquito bombers on dangerous delivery runs from Canada to Scotland during the war. In 1947, he bought a small charter airline with 3 planes for $60,000 that flew gamblers from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and he renamed it Trans-International Airline. On one occasion in 1947, he flew mobster Bugsy Siegel from his Los Angeles home to the gambling city, and returned to Los Angeles with Kirk. After buying the airline for $60,000, 20 years later in 1968, he sold the airline for $100 million. Krikorian built 3 Las Vegas hotels that were each the biggest in the world at the time, including both MGM Grands, and he was the founder of MGM Resorts. Starting in 1969, he bought and sold MGM Movie Studio 3 times for a profit. Regent Air was founded by Stuart and Clifford Pearlman in 1982 after they were forced to sell their shares in Caesar's Palace because the Gaming Commission said that they had done business with reputed members of organized crime. The Southern California-based airline flew charter and scheduled flights between Los Angeles and Newark, New Jersey. The Boeing 727s were customized with only 33 seats in the all first-class cabin instead of about 130 seats. Regent's tagline was, "Regent Air is an experience in luxury that has no parallel in travel." Regent's fares are almost 50% higher than what other airlines charge for first-class tickets, and the airline went out of business in 1986. Kirk Kerkorian wanted to start a similar luxury airline but add Las Vegas as a third destination for what would be called the Golden Triangle service of Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and New York. Kerkorian bought 3 Boeing 727s from Regent Air, and MGM Grand Air, which was based in El Segundo, California, just south of LAX, started flying in September 1987. The airline flew out of Terminal 1 at LAX, which is the Imperial Terminal on the southern border of the airport. Charter flights would be available along with twice daily service between LA, Vegas, and New York's JFK International.
At a time when airline travel is getting more and more uncomfortable, there was a new wrinkle, a Boeing 727 with only 33 seats, an open bar, and private compartments. Jeff Madrick took a look inside for us.
Fantastic. I'd recommend it to anybody. Well, I've flown first class all the time on other carriers, and as far as I'm concerned, everything else is second class.
The founders of MGM Grand Air agree. They say there isn't any first class anymore. And with Las Vegas financier Kirk Kerkorian as owner, they launched their 3-airplane airline this week to provide one. There are 2 flights to Los Angeles and 2 flights back to Kennedy Airport every day. If it all sounds like another chapter from a book called The Roaring '80s about a luxury-seeking society, maybe it is. The comfortable, personalized lounge is only the beginning. The carpeted interior includes even the cockpit. The large chairs swivel all the way around. The dining tables are fit to eat off of. There is customized food service and an open bar.
Caviar omelet. They will make on board any omelet that you'd like, any eggs, any way you'd like them. Prepare a personalized meal specifically for you.
Celebrities and business executives would be the primary customers for flights that would cost $1,400 one way, coast to coast. LA to Vegas would cost $180, and Las Vegas to New York would cost $1,000 one way. MGM Grand Air claimed that this was the same price as American Airlines First Class, but with a private jet experience, and their tagline was, "Everything else should be called second class."
MGM Grand Air introduces Grand Class to Los Angeles. At the same price as ordinary first class, Grand Class offers a new standard of luxury. MGM Grand Air. Everything else should be called second class.
3 Boeing 727s were retrofitted with about 34 first-class seats called Grand Class First, and there were 5 flight attendants. The all-first-class airline had leather swivel chairs, meals on fine china, a stand-up bar, and an oversized bathroom. Larger private cabins were available to rent for $2,400 per flight for up to 4 people.
Larger private cabins can become bedrooms, boardrooms, Rumpus rooms. Looks like there's reward enough for flying in Grand Class style.
MGM Grand Air would provide door-to-door limousine service to their terminal for an extra fee, and the terminal lounge had complimentary food and drink. A flight attendant said, "I learned how Hollywood works. I learned that the stars were at the bottom of the pecking order. They'd spend the whole flight sucking up to the studio executives." Frequent flyers included Johnny Carson, Tom Cruise, Robert De Niro, Michael Jackson, Julia Roberts, and Elizabeth Taylor. According to the flight crew, Eddie Murphy was difficult to deal with, in part because of a 10-man posse, and one crew member said that Madonna was arrogant. During one memorable trip, 2 A-list actresses shared a curtained-off stateroom and kept the plane wide awake with their noisy mile-high canoodling. Frequent flyer Benjamin Zvetke said, "Imagine the Tonight Show's green room at 30,000 feet, but with better food and more comfortable furniture." Sandra Bernhard said, "It wasn't like any other planes I'd ever flown in. That thing had more rooms than a mansion, and everybody was flying it, models and celebrities. So you'd always be running into people. There'll never be anything like it again." MGM Grand Air had Emirates-like luxury in the 1980s. Sometimes the flight crew would be invited out on the town by the celebrities.
Grand Class luxury becomes even grander with the addition of 3 DC-8 Super 62 aircraft. With state-of-the-art technology, they are among the quietest planes in the sky.
In 1990, Kerkorian bought bigger DC-8s, which would now hold 35 Grand Class first seats and also 40 Grand Class coach seats in the back. The coach seats went for about $800 one way and were better than most commercial first-class seats, but some believed that the airline was not as special with the additional Grand Class coach seats.
Evolution occurs over time and through experience. Nowhere is this more clearly evident than in those early days of aviation. But finally, man could fly. Finally, man could fly and even be served a cup of coffee.
Aviation has come a long way since those early days. No question, the in-flight service has too. Thank you, Leanne. Now, you already know MGM Grand Air isn't a grand class all by itself. Did you know something? The best is about to get even better.
In Orlando, Florida, MGM Grand Air is proudly at work on the latest evolution of Grand Class luxury, a trio of DC-8 Super 62 aircraft. Aircraft originally designed for 200 passengers will carry just 81 Grand Class travelers in a style to which you have grown accustomed. After all, these planes are the result of your suggestions.
We have the benefit of having 60,000 people tell us how to improve our product. And we've listened very carefully to and benefited greatly from that input.
The aircraft will be equipped with a state-of-the-art navigation system and the latest in aviation technology. Complying with the FAA's most stringent noise abatement regulations, these will be the quietest DC-8s in the sky. Now, about your suggestions. You asked for even more comfort, so the new planes will include specially designed sleeper seats that recline to a completely horizontal position. There will be brighter reading lights. Each plane will have 37 airphones. You'll have a choice between 6 first-run films. Films shown on 35 monitors throughout the plane, many of them 23-inch screens. All flights will serve fresh espresso and cappuccino. And yes, you asked for it. Each plane will be equipped with a fax machine. Imagine that.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. It's over the top, but I love it.
It's definitely my belief through experience now that there's always a market for high-quality service, always a market for taking the stress out of travel, especially for the business traveler. And those clients that seek this quality service, this is the kind of product for them.
And the product will include even better customer service. You asked for it, so expect advanced boarding passes and seat assignments. Expect new decor in the terminals. And most of all, expect some things to remain just the same. MGM Grand Air will continue to set the finest table and serve the finest cuisine in the sky, all presented in a style reminiscent of travel on the Orient Express. And how could we forget? There's something else that won't be changing. Isn't that right, Mr. Damoni?
That's correct. At the end of the flight, when you wake up from your nap, you'll smell the aroma of the freshly baked cookies. We wouldn't change that for the world.
The evolution of Grand Class luxury means a new fleet of airplanes, expanded charter and cargo services, more comfort. But what makes MGM Grand Air successful isn't planes, it's people.
Customer service is what we have to sell. We are fortunate in that we have an outstanding employee workforce. They are MGM Grand Air.
Now, the one question we haven't answered, when? When will Grand Class become even grander? Can you wait until summertime? Come on, be patient. The best is worth waiting for.
But first on Lifestyles, Ivana Trump's ultimate wings of luxury. MGM Grand, the airline that put the class back into first-class air travel, has made some changes in its bi-coastal service. Its new fleet of DC-8 Super 62s are even roomier and more luxurious than before. MGM Grand veterans have come to expect the very best. Take it from a Newhart star devotee.
The first time, in fact, that I ever flew MGM Grand Air to go to New York, I was very sick. I got on the flight, and they made up a compartment for me that is a full bed. I mean, not just a little pull down, a full bed with linens, pillows. I thought I had died and gone to heaven, and I got well on that flight.
Gimme a break star flip for MGM's Dream Girl treatment.
You hear about the old movie stars being treated so special, and the seats, it's better than the Concorde. The Concorde, no offense, Concorde, but your seats are too tight. And before anyone says anything about my weight, shut up.
An international expert on luxury and first-class treatment is another fan. Ivana Trump insists that special West Coast visitors to her world-class, world-renowned Plaza Hotel always touch down in the Big Apple in style.
MGM Grand has just a wonderful service, and we all in the hospitality business, hotel business, or airline business. You know, in real estate you say location, location, location. In our business we say service, 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 and this is what they give.
All-star passengers include Tom Cruise, Kathleen Turner, Jacqueline Smith, Al Pacino, and Elliot Gould.
This is a lot of fun, and I'm sure it's very interesting to a majority of people who don't get an opportunity to experience this kind of luxury and grandeur. And I'm here to say that if I can do it, you can do it.
Airborne luxury has become even more affordable with Grand Class Coach. But don't let that word coach fool you. Each pair of oversized leather seats has a video monitor and airphone. There's also state-of-the-art audio and fax machines. The service soars high above first class on most other airlines, yet it costs the same as other coach tickets. With the former fleet of 727s now charter flying everyone from rock bands to basketball teams, the DC-8s are the new luxury kings of the sky. The best can indeed get better, and with MGM Grand, that's not just pie in the sky.
The airline partnered with the USO for Operation Desert Cheer. In December 1990, they flew 15 tons of gifts to the soldiers in Saudi Arabia just before the Gulf War started in January 1991.
Not to be outdone, a California-based executive airline catering to wealthy business travel. Airline employees began collecting gifts for the troops less than 2 weeks ago. Executives say they don't want publicity, so we won't mention the airline's name.
We happen to cater to corporations that hadn't had the opportunity to give things before. They don't want any publicity out of this at all either.
Okay, so we won't mention the company's names either, but they did themselves proud. And the gifts are LA Glitz, 5,000 pounds of men's and women's skin moisturizer,
5,000 Dick Tracy movie videos, and dozens of bottles of high-dollar cologne. In all, 15 tons of Christmas cheer.
We have 20,000 cookies. We have some basketballs from the NBA autographed. We have some footballs from the NFL. We have a couple of large packages of Frisbees.
Airline officials heard about a critical need for reading material, so pilots passed out the latest news from home. The next step, making sure the goodies get in the hands of soldiers.
We've been working closely with the Defense Logistics Agency, and we're also working with the USO in Bahrain to deliver those, and I think they'll get out there.
One problem remains. Airline employees collected more gifts than the airplane could hold. So within the next few days, the airline will send another plane with yet another load of Christmas gifts for the troops. Mike Katz, CNN, Saudi Arabia.
For the 1990-91 season, the Chicago Bulls basketball team started renting a 727 MGM Grand 35-seat airplane to fly the team on road trips. The private plane more than doubled the team's travel costs because an NBA team usually traveled on traditional commercial airline back in the early 90s. The charter plane made travel less tiresome, and the team believed the plane has been instrumental in improving Chicago's road record.
And how about those Bulls? They are flying high this year. They have begun using a new MGM Grand charter plane. It's a Boeing 118-seat 727 aircraft, which has been reconfigured with 34 plush recliner seats. It has everything, including the best in food, 5 flight attendants, sleeping compartments. And John Paxson tells our Bob Vasilopoulos the reason for all this.
We're hoping that, by having a charter plane, you maybe win 4 or 5 more games on the road, and because you save, getting the early wake-up calls, you can fly out after a game. So that's what it's all about. But it's a beautiful plane.
So you have the lounge area?
Yeah, this is the lounge, and this is where most guys sit. And then second section is the big love seat in the back where Bill Cartwright gets the seat. And in the back are more like little suites that you can close off and sleep. So it's very impressive.
I don't think it gets much better than this. All the room we want, all the food we want, great service, can't beat it.
What was your first reaction when you got on this plane?
Can't go back to commercial after this. We better keep winning.
The Bulls would go on to win their first of 6 NBA titles in 8 years, led by Michael Jordan. A DHC-6 300 Twin Otter was used to carry passengers between Orange County's John Wayne Airport and LAX. In 1992, the airline partnered with United Airlines to share mileage programs. By the early 1990s, more celebrities and executives were owning or leasing their own private jets, and some flights had more crew members than passengers, so MGM Grand Air was shut down in 1994. Writer Benjamin Zvetke took the final flight from LA to New York on New Year's Eve 1993, and he wrote an article about the final flight titled "The Last Debauched Flight of the MGM Grand Airline." He wrote, "We were flying over Colorado when some of the passengers started singing Auld Lang Syne. Others on board already had begun partying, flouting the fasten seatbelt sign, guzzling champagne, and lighting up cigarettes in the aisles. Me, I sat quietly in my seat listening to Buddy Hackett snoring. And Buddy Hackett would sleep for the entire flight." Minnesota-based Front Page Tours, which specialized in flying professional sports teams and their fans, bought MGM Grand Air in 1995. Front Page Tours cater to NBA teams, and they changed the name to Champion Air, with the fleet becoming all Boeing 727s. In 2008, Champion Air lost their NBA contracts, and with higher fuel costs and an aging 727 fleet, the airline was forced to close down in 2008. Other Las Vegas casinos to have an airline include Hacienda, which was at the current site of Mandalay Bay. From 1959 to 1962, the casino offered Hacienda Holiday, with flights from Southern California to Vegas for about $30. The package included a bottle of champagne, fashion show, and live piano music during the flight. In Vegas, the trip included a free meal, 2 drinks, a show, along with $5 in casino chips, and a chance to win $5,000 if you made a hole-in-one at the driving range. Aviation officials shut down Hacienda Airlines because it didn't have an airline certificate for commercial planes. Hooters Air was based in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The 2 Hooters girls on board were not certified by the Federal Aviation Administration, so they did not perform any flight attendant duties, but only hospitality duties, and flights were operated by Pace Airlines. There were only 75 days when Hooters Air was flying and Hooters Casino was open, from February 2nd to April 17, 2006. At one point, Hooters Air did fly to Las Vegas, but was primarily an East Coast airline. Trump International Hotel and Trump Shuttle Airline were never operating at the same time. The airline only flew in the Northeast from 1989 to 1992, and Trump International Hotel Las Vegas opened in 2008. Virgin Atlantic first started flying in 1984, and Virgin Hotels took over the off-strip Hard Rock Casino in 2021, and both are operating today, including flights into Las Vegas.